was a time when romantic comedies dominated the box office, and now a handful of new movies, including one shot here in Toronto, are trying to revive the genre. Take a look.
What are you doing?
Special delivery. Pizza for the lady. Gail included.
I'm not hungry.
What are you talking about? You're always hungry at midnight.
Little Italy has everything that you could want from a rom-com. Forbidden love, feuding families, great food, and an all-star cast. And two of those stars are here with us today, Hayden-Christensen and Danny Aiello. Guys, thank you so much for being here. A real honor to have you.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Danny, talk to me a little bit more about the movie and how it embraces the rom-com genre.
Well, I did something similar to this in the past, and I shot it also in Toronto. It was Moonstruck. And this is very close to that. I feel exactly the same. You talk about romantic comedies. That, of course, was one as well. And this is probably the reason why I wanted to do this. I wanted to resurrect Moonstruck in this particular movie. And I had the opportunity of working with this kid who's terrific. You're going to love him in this movie. He's a real, right? He's going to love you, right, kid?
Hayden, you know, so many huge, big-budget movies out there. And is this the right time for a romantic comedy and a small romantic comedy? Because we gotta cleanse the palate. We have these big summer movies, and you want to go back and have an intimate story.
I think so. I think there's a real appetite for this type of movie right now. I mean, it's a bit of a throwback to rom-coms that we haven't seen in a little bit. And I think people will really enjoy it.
And it's about pizza. Everyone loves pizza. The common denominator is pizza.
It's about love, and family and friends and love that doesn't discriminate.
Right.
Love of all ages and colors and sexes and
all different ages as well, because there's Andrea Martin and we actually have sex in the film.
Yeah.
Well, it's bad sex.
It's implied.
And I must tell you, just to clean it a little bit, I'm fully clothed. I'm under the covers with a suit on, and she says the next time we do it, remove your clothes. Andrea Martin, she's great.
Unlike a lot of movies are shot here in Toronto. Unlike a lot of those movies, it's set in Toronto. It's not pretending to be Chicago or New York. What did that mean to you?
Exactly. Well, that was a big deal for me, being from Toronto. It's a bit of a love letter to the city in a way. And it's set in Toronto's Little Italy, which is a community that's very dear to my heart as well. So there was a lot of just sort of natural connections there for me. And my grandma's Italian, so it was a good fit. But
and it felt good for me too, and it's very similar to what New York is. Mulberry Street, New York, Little Italy. I really felt very comfortable here when we were shooting Little Italy in Toronto, and it's the first time really that you saw Little Italy in Toronto.
Sure.
And it was very much like it was in New York City. But remember, I was here shooting Moonstruck in Toronto. I also shot a couple of other movies in Toronto, so I feel like a native of Toronto, and being here in Little Italy, being an Italian, that was very helpful as well. It was a beautiful experience.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you next, Danny. As an Italian, what does this movie get right about the Italian community?
Well, I would say the love affairs that go on, the secret thing. I mean, I don't know how to explain that with the exception of, because I'm playing the older person, quite obviously. Andrea Martin plays my girlfriend. She's a grandmother, I'm a grandfather. None of the children who are having their own affairs and their own problems in their families do not know that her and I have a love affair. Now, whenever we meet, I'm talking about Andrea and I, we meet in a confession booth in church. That's the only safe place we can keep it away from them. When we're in church, I would look through the screen and I would say, give me a kiss. And while I'm kissing, suddenly the curtain opens and I look and it's the priest and I say, oh, Jesus. He said, oh, no. He said, Father, comfort him. So it's quite amusing. It's a beautiful, and I love being in it. And it's got this kid. This kid's amazing. It's an opportunity for me to work and learn something from someone who's brilliant.
So what did you?
You're never too old to learn.
Danny, what did you learn from Hayden?
Well, his behavior.
I did all the learning. This guy is a legend.
He's such a special young man. So he feels like a son to me. And, I had 3 sons. It reminds me of my kid, Danny, who passed away as a result of pancreatic cancer. He was a big stunt coordinator. He reminds me so much of my son. He's just a wonderful actor. He's a wonderful actor, and he's a giver. There are takers in this business. He's not that. He's a giver, and he's so damn talented. I'm so proud of him. I just met him on this movie.
I think we lucked out.
There's a heterosexual relationship, I want you to know.
But there's a real sort of familial quality to our relationship, and having him play my grandfather and playing his grandson was just a really natural fit for us.
And the scenes,
I
let
think
me
we'll
say.
do more together, I hope.
Scenes are beautiful. And Donald Petrie. Donald Petrie is the director who did Grumpy Old Men, and also his father directed me in a movie called Fort Apache, the Bronx, 40 years ago. And he had a little part, I'm talking about Donald, in that movie, and here he's directing me and us.
Well, thank you both for coming in. I love the movie. I can't wait for everybody to see it. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks so much.
All the best, guys.
Thanks.
Thanks so much.
Pleasure.
And Little Italy opens in theaters on Friday.